Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to this Intralogistics Connected webinar. I'm Christopher Walton, Editor of Logistics Manager, and I'm your host for this interactive session where we'll be focusing on improving order picking efficiencies. While we all would have liked to have been at the Rico Arena in Coventry last week for Intralogistics, we're pleased to present this series of webinars and bring you the very latest intralogistics technologies and trends that are transforming the warehouse. As we all know, in today's e-commerce environment, speed and accuracy are essential. Customers demand products almost instantaneously, and a reputation of a retailer is on the line every time an order is dispatched. Get it wrong and it gets shared among friends, family, and beyond. And as we approach the Christmas peak, operations are already handling record volumes as e-commerce has accelerated in 2020. So to help us discover the latest technologies that are revolutionizing picking efficiencies, maximizing productivity, and driving improvements throughout the warehouse, this afternoon we've got not just one, but two fantastic speakers set to deliver two fascinating presentations and above all, answer your questions. Up first, we have James Roberts, Director at Randex. James is an expert when it comes to filing and storage requirements, and Randex provides a range of the biggest, strongest and fastest vertical lifts available in the UK. In his presentation, James will showcase scalable high-speed picking systems, and you will learn how to implement efficient order picking and list fulfillment in a safe, ergonomic and socially distanced way. Following James, we will hear from Jose Maria Buenaposada, Key Account Manager, UK and Ireland at Pick-to-Light Systems. Jose has a wide range of experience throughout the industrial automation and robotics sectors across Europe, so he knows that picking is at the heart of warehouse operations. In his interactive presentation today, you'll discover how good picking design can profoundly impact the efficiency of a picking strategy, and how Pick-to-Light Systems technologies are transforming these processes. And I cannot stress enough that this webinar is interactive. Our speakers today are here to answer your questions and help tackle your problems. So to that end, please use the question and answer panel, the Q&A panel at the bottom of the screen, and type in your questions for our panelists. I'll be posing your questions to James and Jose after their presentations, so make sure you get them in early and we'll get through as many as we possibly can this afternoon. And just before we begin, may I remind you that this webinar will be available on demand from tomorrow on logisticsmanager.com. So feel free to share with your colleagues. So without further ado, I'll hand over to James Roberts, Director at Randex.
Okay, well, good afternoon. Thank you, Chris, for your very kind introduction. Thank you all for watching, wherever you may be. We at Randex have had a long relationship with Intralogistics, exhibiting at various arenas, and whilst it's disappointing, unfortunately, we can't exhibit this year. It's good that we can do this webinar, and we'll of course look forward to exhibiting next year when things and life returns somewhat more to normal, or in the next 10 years maybe. Anyway, without further ado, I'll crack on and I'll just start our presentation. So at Randex, what I'm here to really talk about today is our vertical lift, our core products, which are vertical lift systems, both vertical lifts and twins, and how they can be used to achieve high-speed picking, whether within stores or in distribution and fulfillment centers. If I may, I'd like to start with a little bit about who we are and what we do. Randex were formed in 2004 in Finchley in London, and we were lucky in that we were able to hit the ground running, as our key founders had a vast knowledge and wealth of information about vertical lifts, office storage systems, and the materials handling industry. In 2005, we were able to establish a relationship with the Welland Group in Sweden, which is one of the major suppliers of machinery and steel in Sweden. But one of the companies is Welland Solutions, who have manufacture and distribute a machine called Compact Lift. And in 2005, we became the sole distributor for compact lift in UK and in Ireland. In 2007, we installed the first compact lift in the UK into Glenmorangie in Scotland. And subsequently, following that, once we were able to take people and go and view the machine in action, and once they were able to check the reliability and the robustness and just the quality of the general build, we've progressed and expanded throughout the UK, putting machines into a number of different size organizations, whether that might be one machine or many machines, up to sort of 40-something machines in Rolls-Royce, for example, performing a number of functions, whether that's purely as a storage machinery or whether that be for picking and speed of fulfillment, for example. In terms of the compact lift itself, what the compact lift system is, for those of you who aren't sure, we have compact lift is a vertical storage system, but effectively takes advantage of the height that might be available on any premises to store trays and stack trays on top of each other to make best use of any footprint, any given space you might have. So on the right-hand side here, we have a end elevation of a vertical lift where the operator will stand at the front here, and trays are stored at the back of the machine, as shown here, and in the front of the machine, and an elevator will run up the central atrium, picking trays from the back and the front, bringing them down to the operator, presenting them into the opening for them to pick as and when required. The advantages of compact lift and compact twin machines, the key advantage really is that it maximizes the storage space only ever given over any given footprint, up to maybe 85-90% compared to traditional static racking. It will trays, each time a tray leaves the access opening here, a couple of things happen. It passes through a height detection curtain, so it will detect the height of the goods on the tray. It will then go and store the tray in the most suitable location for it, based on firstly the height of the goods, but also based on the frequency at which that tray is picked. So if a tray is picked very frequently, it will store it opposite the access opening here. So it will reduce any retrieval time it takes to pick the tray. If the tray is used very rarely, it will just pump the tray up to the top of the machine. So obviously, depending on the height of the machine, the taller the machine, the longer it might take to retrieve a tray. Another function it will do, as standard, a vertical lift, we have trays which can handle goods of 300 or 500 kilograms. We can go higher if need be. We can go up to 1,500 kilograms, which makes us, for this class of machine, able to handle the heaviest trays on the market. But it does require that when the tray goes onto the elevator, we check the weight of the tray just to check that it doesn't exceed the 300 or the 500 kilograms. The key technology which runs the actual elevator itself, as you can see on the left-hand side here, is the rack and pinion four-wheel drive system. This effectively provides on each corner of the elevator a rack which runs to the top of the machine, and then we have a pinion wheel held by a tensioning wheel which really grip the elevator in place, which means we can provide a very stable, reliable platform regardless of the height of the machine and regardless of the width of the machine as well. So we can have elevators which are up to or over 6 meters long in terms of tray, so a 7-meter machine, which is the widest available machine of this class that is out there. Okay, moving on. So as mentioned, we have our two key products, which are compact lift and compact twin. They both benefit from the technologies we've just seen on the previous slide, but I'll just give you play a video now showing a comparison between compact lift and twin. So on the left-hand side of this video, we'll see a compact lift machine, and on the right-hand side, we have compact twin. So a compact lift machine will fetch and retrieve trays, bringing them down and then presenting them to the opening. On the right-hand side, the twin, whilst there's a tray in the opening, the twin will journey up into the machine to get the next tray ready effectively, so that it will then swap those trays around in the access opening. So the operator can, instead of waiting in terms of with a traditional lift for the next tray to be retrieved, they can just be picking from one tray whilst the twin is fetching the next tray and then presenting it into the opening. It minimizes any downtime that's associated with normal vertical lift systems. The beauty of compact twin really though is that because the elevator can handle 2 trays at the same time, which is a unique ability of compact twin, it's always delivering trays to the most ergonomic height. There's no compromises in terms of the height of the tray delivery or in terms of the goods that you can store on the tray. Okay. So the key benefits of compact lift or compact twin systems, and there are many. Space saving, as mentioned before, we're utilizing the height that's available with any warehouse. The time saving in terms of what you're picking, it makes it, because we present the tray into a very clear, wide, and very well lit access opening, it gives the operators makes it very easy for them to look down from above and pick the items which they might require, as opposed to looking into traditional static shelving or pigeonhole sort of setups. It allows a level of security and traceability, so we can restrict access depending on operator level and permissions, so that only certain people have access to certain trays or even certain products on various trays. We're always, as I've mentioned, we always deliver the goods to the operator. The machines are very easy to use, so whether you're running the machine as a standalone machine or as a or integrated with software, for example, there's an intangible benefit that operators feel using the technology, because they feel it's efficient. They're not wasting their time traveling up and down aisles of racking. They're able to use the machine, and it just, yes, it's much more efficient. In terms of the flexible configuration and customization, as mentioned, we can have machines at various heights going up in 150 millimeter increments. So we can really make the best out of matching the profile of any sort of building or warehouse sort of roof line going in between eaves and I-beams, etc. We can have machines with multiple openings, either at the back and the front of the machine or on different levels, machines of different widths, as I've mentioned. And something which is very popular where people are really struggling for space is we actually put the machine on the outside of a building. We can create a structure around these machines, but we actually punch a hole through the building, and then we have an opening so that operators can stand and they can pick from trays in the opening as they're presented, thus taking up no footprint at all in the actual original building. That's a very good solution as well for climate control and where people are looking to maintain a constant temperature within the machines. Okay, so some accessories which help increase the efficiency of vertical lifts and using vertical lifts. Probably the most common accessories we fit to machines and operators use would be the LED bar and the picking display. The LED bar will light up along the front of the machine, showing the operator which sort of horizontal location to pick from, and then we have a numeric display to show them which location in terms of the number of locations back. We have the picking display, which will present a graphical representation of the tray layout, and the layout can be very complicated or very simple, as shown in the picture. That will also display the description of the items to be picked, the quantity, and if required and if available, a picture of the actual item itself. You can also have a laser pointer, which obviously points to the location. That's very good for if you've got lots and lots of very small locations. But between the three of those, they're probably the most common used ways to identify the tray locations or target locations. Some other sort of peripheral accessories which we use quite a lot. Foot pedals are quite popular at the moment. We're having to retrofit quite a lot of those because these are used to confirm a pick or any action that's carried out on the machine itself. And it minimizes any touching of control panels or scanners and those sorts of things. So so the foot pedal is quite popular at the moment. And of course, we can support QR code, barcode scanning and reading. And we're doing quite a lot of integration, a lot of projects which we'll touch on a bit later, but not too much because we don't want to steal any of Jose Maria's thunder. But we're integrating a lot with put to light and pick to light systems, which again, whilst vertical lifts will do so much, really it's not the vertical lift which will provide the speed and the accuracy and the picking. It's what happens before and after. Okay, so looking at the software side of things, we have our core bit of software is Compact Store, which is used to manage and control the parts and goods and products and SKUs within the lift itself. We integrate this with a number of different ERP and warehouse management systems, some of which you may or may not recognize. We haven't found any we haven't been able to integrate with as yet. That isn't a challenge, but that's just we've customized Compact Store in many different ways for some of these, but generally it's quite a simple process. This can be a one-way or a two-way transaction as well. So Compact Store and the lifts can be driven from the ERP system and act effectively as a slave, or Compact Store can control everything and just be seen as a black box in which we manage all the locations and quantities, etc. Looking at some applications, especially in today's world, we're recommending at the moment different ways of managing the picking routes. For example, we're looking at zonal picking for single operators. So with Compact Store, we can set up single or multiple machines. So one operator can pick from 3 or 4 machines if it's a particularly quiet time. As things get busier, they can be dedicated to an individual machine, and additional operators can come in and pick from the other machines just to really ramp up the pick rate. Whilst the efficiency of this will drop, the pick rate will still remain, the pick rate will increase. We can also add batch picking, so where possible, we can pick to trolleys and conveyors or to put to light walls, because that really is where we will achieve a much greater pick rate. And whilst we're on this, I'll just show a quick video of this is an installation, a well-end installation of a single machine where the operator is carrying out 14 pick lines at any one time. And this is just timed over a 1 hour period to give us a sense of what can be achieved when Compact Store and the machines are working together. So this is compact as we can from each tray whilst it's in the opening. Okay, so just in summary there, we can see 15 orders picked in the course of an hour. That's 1,241 units, or more importantly, 727 order lines within an hour, which I think is, for a machine of this class, I don't think there's no comparison. Okay, so running back to our presentation, one of the other options is when things progress to where you have many machines and multiple operators. Something we have to give some thought to at the moment is we're trying to minimize operators passing obviously too closely together, etc. So there's a number of ways we can do this. In the picture shown there, and probably the most common setup is to have an operator picking from perhaps 1 to 3 machines. They might be picking to a conveyor belt or something, which the totes will then continue on to the next zone or picking zone, where they'll have the next operator picking from multiple machines. Alternatively, and again, this really is defined by the requirements and what the possibilities are on site. The operator could be picking from each zone using foot pedals, so we're not even touching the machines, but they could picking to a trolley, and then running the trolley down along the line, picking from each location as and when they get to it. So they can effectively circulate on a picking route. Thus, they're avoiding as many, some of the potential touch points, etc. One of the things we have developed most recently with one of our client sites, which we've got a bit of another video to show in a moment, is using compact store to replenish by light, which has been an excellent solution, very much driven, in all honesty, by the client as well. It's something that they wanted to do, which is good because it's obviously pushed us. But replenishing by light is unique, and I believe we're the only ones to do it using effectively the same hardware, the same put to light setup and kit to replenish the vertical lifts whilst it's possible at the same time to be picking from the same put to light system. They don't do that at the moment. They'll carry out the replenishment perhaps in the morning, and then they're picking in the afternoon or in the evening. But again, these are 24-hour operations, but because of the capabilities, it makes it very flexible and an excellent solution for them. Okay, now I'm going to go on to another quick video, which is a case study at a recent installation at Bunzl, where we installed 4 machines in 2 locations, so 2 machines and 2 machines. This was a project, and I have Gareth Banks is going to be doing some talking on the video in a second. But this is a very fast-moving, high-speed picking location. Okay, the video does cover some of the installation side of things as well, which may be less interesting. But again, we've got some funky music.
We set out with the expectation that we needed a solution that could pick a high volume of small SKUs. We had to do it in large batches for batch efficiency, and at the same time we needed to be able to replenish the machine as efficiently as we could pick from it. Welland took all of our requirements on board, and they delivered a solution of 4 compact twin vertical lifts with 96 put-to-light stations. So this allows us to do picking to light as well as replen from light. The replen from light is a game changer for us. So when you look at traditional vertical lifts, you have to do some form of pre-sorting of the stock, and it's a very manual process to put that inventory inside the machine. Because we're using the put-to-light stations to actually do our replenishments as well, we get the same levels of efficiency for the replenishment as we are for the picking. The compact twin is the only vertical lift on the market that has a twin extractor, so that means it can carry 2 trays at once. Due to that, it means it can deliver consistently faster the trays to the access opening, which reduces the time for an operative stood waiting for the trays, which essentially would be wasted time otherwise. The results so far are really exciting, and it is great news to deliver back to the business. We're still only in our early stages of implementation, but for the products that we've currently got within the machines, we've seen a performance increase. So we're actually now picking at 550 units per operator per hour, which is a 400 unit per hour increase.
Okay, just to summarize, again, in that location, I can show you on the slide here, so the before and after. So before they were picking 16 orders each operator, now picking 48 at the same time. They were traveling huge distance, whereas now it's a very minimal area that they're covering, literally from the machine to the pick face or the put to light pick face. And as to summarize, I mean, the benefits have been huge. They've gone from a target of 115 picks per hour way up now to 550, and huge savings in terms of efficiency and general just working hours. I think it's important to say though that this project and the most successful projects we've been involved in is where it's been a collaborative effort with the client, and they have driven and provided feedback along the way, and this has been amended and chopped and changed to give them the solution that they want ultimately. Another thing just to mention again with Bunzel, because due to the success of the previous installation, we're now installing, or we've installed half of this now. It's a couple of machines into a new warehouse facility where they're going to have, each machine will have access openings front to back. The benefit of this solution will mean that they can actively have 4 people if potentially working in the same location on these 2 machines, replenishing, picking, or even just picking at the same time for when it is extremely busy. And in the future, they're looking at progressing to having conveyors to remove totes away from the location or the pick locations, and even integrating with AGVs just to run these the containers and totes to a different location for consolidation, perhaps with other parts of the pick or other parts of the order. Sorry. Okay, I'm conscious of time, Chris. So on that note, I'd wrap it up there. I thank you all, anybody who's watching and listening, and open it up to any questions that anybody may have.
Well, I think the question we all want to know, James, is where you're getting your music choices from on your video, because they were inspired this afternoon. No, seriously, that was absolutely fascinating. So thank you for that. And as I say, we're going to hit the question and answer part of this session now. So please keep your questions coming through on the Q&A part, the Q&A link at the bottom of this is the most hilarious question. I'm not going to answer that question that's just come in, because it's quite rude to you, to be honest, James. So I'll kick off with, how many order lines can be picked per hour from a compact twin machine on average?
How many order lines? There's probably there is no defined answer to that. I'd say there's many variables which would be factored in, namely the height of the machine, what the order profile would be, in terms of how many orders can be fulfilled from the same trays, for example. We know that the machine, compact twin, when running optimally, we can deliver 130 trays per hour to the opening with a standard 6-meter high machine. But I would say that really it's not, whilst the tray is there, to be honest, we want to keep the tray there as long as possible and carry out as many picks whilst that tray is there. So while it may be great to say we can do these 120 trays, it's actually, we'll get more value if we keep the tray there, carry out as many picks as we can. And that's, again, the benefit of compact store and having some software which is controlling that.
Excellent. Well, the question I was trying to avoid was someone asking you if that's your natural hair color. Let's move swiftly on from that and ask the question.
I think I need to answer. It certainly is, but there's less and less of it these days.
I know the feeling. So I have a question here from Jonathan Henley, and he says, is there any solution for larger items such as clothing?
Such as clothing, yeah, certainly. Are you looking? It depends whether, of course, these are packaged clothing, or if you're looking at some sort of rack system storage, with hangers, etc. Because these certainly are possible. One thing that I would say is that anything that goes onto a tray storage system, they need to be contained within the footprint of the tray. And one thing with clothes, etc., is you would need to have these some sort of sides and backs, etc., just to ensure that there's no clothes sort of flapping about. It really depends on how you're looking to store them, but we generally, depending on what you're...
Sorry, James, Jonathan just said it's in regards to packaged clothing.
Yeah, so I mean, again, for packaged clothing, if they're in plastic or sealed containers, etc., we'd be looking at probably having some sort of divider system on the trays, just so whether it's shirts, whatever they may be, can just be located into a location, but they would be contained to stop things from moving about. Because as a tray goes in and out of the opening and storage, things can move, provided they are, yeah, if they're not held, if they're not prevented from moving.
Okay. I have another question that's come in asking, what about even bigger goods? Like, say you have a case of 12 tins of tomatoes or baked beans or something like that. Is there a solution that you can put it straight onto the pallets and through the compact twin system?
Yeah. So we have a pallet handling system, again for larger goods, where operators could even use a forklift truck or a coolie or some sort of stacker system, if you like. We can, the access opening for a compact lift can be at any height as well. So depending on what you're looking to put in it, we can develop, or we've probably developed it already, some system for managing those goods into the machine. That would be very much from a bulk store sort of solution, if you like, and then it does allow operators to then pick from the other side potentially. For example, at Tata Steel, we have people loading machines with long plate steel, which is very different to sort of fulfillment sort of world example, but it could be pallets of beans or pallets of anything, and then operators pick eaches or individual items from the other side.
So James,
yes.
Would that work on, say you're trying to build a pallet of mixed products as well? Would that possibly work?
Picking from the machine to build a pallet of picks, a pallet of mixed, yes. Yeah, certainly. Or alternatively, you could consolidate mixed goods into the machine as you're picking, so pick from pallets into the machine, or as you pick from multiple locations in the machine, you could you could store for pallets of mixed as they go out to various locations.
Okay, and one final question for this part of the Q&A. Someone said that within the Bunzel video that you just showed, the totes in that solution were labeled. Is there another solution?
Yeah, there's various solutions rather than labeling, and that's actually something I could have or should have mentioned probably for the new location that Bunzel is looking at. RFID to automatically log where the totes are within the pick to light face or the put to light wall, if you like. Whether or not we even perhaps need put to light in those scenarios, but then they could use the same RFID tagging to then monitor and shepherd the totes as they go throughout the sort of logistics chain, if you like, towards dispatch. Okay. The labeling they use there it works quite well in that scenario, but yeah, there certainly are other solutions, sort of tagging the totes, for example.
Okay, and I'm going to squeeze in one last question before we quickly move on to host, if you don't mind answering this in a very quick way, please, James. So with lifts, the question is, there are moving parts, there's a single point of failure. How reliable are the machines and how often do they break down? What's the kind of maintenance plan there?
Standard maintenance plan would be we carry out a service twice a year, so we do 2 visits. If for example, Specsavers or people who have hundreds of thousands of cycles per year because they use it for distribution, etc., we might plan in more preventative maintenance visits a year. But we generally, provided they're maintained well, that will cover the majority of problems. If there are problems, if there is a training issue, or if there's been an operator error or something, we can get on remotely as well and provide remote access support to get the machines up and running. But we have many sites where customers need 24/7 support, where they need items within 4 working hours. Generally, we like to maintain the machines to 98% uptime or something. If it's not achieving that, then we have a problem. We'll solve it. Things happen, obviously, but it's just how we sort of deal with them and manage them.
Excellent. Okay, thank you so much for that, James. We have got other questions that have come in, so I'll share those questions with them, and hopefully he can get back to you via email if you want to provide your emails on the questions as well, and we can answer them on a one-to-one basis. So let's move into the second part of this Intralogistics Connected webinar, and welcome Jose Maria Posada, who's the Key Account Manager for the UK and Ireland at Pick-to-Light Systems. Jose, it's over to you.
Hello, hi everyone. As Chris just said, thank you, Chris. I'm Jose, forget the surname, and I'm the responsible for sales in the UK and Ireland. Thank you, James, for this introduction as well, because you have told many things about the picking lights. I will first introduce our company, and then I hope we get enough time left for questions at the end of this presentation. Let me share this my screen. So there it is. Okay, there you have my contact details in case you want to place some more questions or you have any issues with the to choose from picking lights provider. Well, as all of you will perfectly know what picking is, there are different alternatives in the market to perform a picking process. Many options like voice picking, using barcode scanners, obviously paper lists. I hope that we get rid of them soon. We have the total automation that will involve picking by robots and so on. But today, what I will explain, or try to explain, are the advantages of using our picking lights. First of all, who we are. Well, we are a company based in Spain, northern Spain, near Bilbao. You know, we were established in 22 as a joint venture of AIOI, which developed the picking technology with picking lights for Toyota more than 35 years ago in Japan, and is now a global leader in this market. Almost 20 years ago, AIOI came to Europe, wanting to get introduced in the European market, and they joined with Ulma Handling Systems. That is the other company that is part of our own. Ulma Handling Systems is a cooperative company that is partnered with Daifuku as well, and is part of Ulma Cooperative Group. Sorry. That is that has 9 divisions and is worked for more than 5,000 people. Also, this cooperative group, Ulma, is part of a bigger one that is called Mondragon Cooperative, Mondragon Corporation, and this corporation is over 81,000 people working all over the globe. So we are a small company with a very defined target, but we have the backup and support of a big brother. We have a sales representative in the key countries in Europe, and the UK and Ireland are two of those key countries. AOI Systems from Japan, our mother company, is delivering their products to Asia and Africa and Australia, and Pick-to-Light Systems is delivering this Pick-to-Light product to Europe, and now we are also extending our action to South America from Brazil. So what are the differences between us and our competitors like KBS, Vana, or Easy Data? Well, there are many advantages, I think, and I will mention just a few. The main one, I would say, is our range of products. We have several families of picking lights that all add more than 1,000 different items, different displays. And we follow the philosophy of the Japanese people, the Kaizen. We always improve our items or products and our services. The main family of lights at the moment and the most commonly used is the MWU series that we have more than 90 different lights. Here you have a picture of some of them. The first one on the left, right, on the left, upper left, is the most widely used because well, it has 4 digits and a very well seen confirmation button. But we have all these different items with sensors, confirmation sticks. We use also e-paper in some occasions, mainly when we need to reduce the power consumption. Other lights, for example, give the possibility to different operators, pickers, to work simultaneously, because each operator works with a defined color, so they know how to pick, where to pick, and how many items to pick. Pick-to-light operations are mainly known because you don't need to scan everything. You just have to follow the lights. Well, also here I'm showing you some of the lights we have, but other families we have available. For example, for below zero operation or with high humidity, we are an expert in this Pick-to-Light. Well, I think the other main advantage of our system is our technology. We have a very accurate and trustable technology, simple to store, simple to program, and we can work with every WMS or WCS or ERP in the market. We are software independent. Obviously, we need a software program to control the lights, but any of these managing softwares can do it. A typical installation would consist on a server running the control software, a controller or several controllers, and a 2-wire cable that connects these controllers to the lights. when I first entered the company, 1 year ago now, as an electronic engineer, I thought this could be very easy to develop. Lights are easy to develop. Well, now I think that anybody can design a light system for a small iteration, but when many lights are required, here we are. We can manage from 10 lights to several thousand lights. And well, I am a heavy user of Amazon, so maybe this is not very well received by them, but Amazon found it difficult to enter the Japanese market because its local competitor, Yodobashi, implemented a pick-to-light solution with over 150,000 lights that gave Yodobashi a competitive advantage in fast delivery and no picking errors. To my knowledge, this is the biggest installation developed with picking lights with our technology. Apart from product, I would like to highlight that we have other advantages like our 5-year guarantee and our support. We offer a limited free support for life. Just think about it. We trust our product. And sometimes we get to know of an installation that was implemented several years ago because they want to update it, but not because of any fault. Also, being part of a big corporation gives us a financial power to keep bigger stock of items in our warehouse. And also, yes, we use our pick-to-light system to fulfill our customer orders as well. Our solutions are provided for, well, we are organized in 2 divisions. One is aimed to distribution, and the other one is aimed to production. Here I will talk about distribution with several solutions that can be implemented with our lights. But also, just to mention, we have the production line for supply chain logistics. But going back to the picking solutions, well, this is our general, well, and standard warehouse distribution, where we can see different areas for picking, different types of picking, and different types of storing the goods. One of the, well, this is what widely used, pick to light, is when the picker just follows the lights and picks from the location the quantity just indicated in the light. Put to wall is just the opposite. You put the item you have collected or you have in your trolley and on the location indicated. It is also called put to wall. It's the most efficient system for sorting of goods. Pick to pack is the other side of the wall. When the order has been completed, the light will show it or will lit up and saying that it is ready to complete or to pack. This eliminates errors in packaging, and shipping is faster. Okay. Another solution for picking is batch picking, when the operator just walks along the corridors of the warehouse and picks every product that is indicated by the lights, with no classification by orders, just picks everything that is needed later to distribute or sort out in the picking wall. Operators can fulfill orders while they are working on the corridors with picking trolleys. These picking trolleys are wireless, and they can collect several orders at the same time. So improves the rate of for picking. Cross-docking is when, for example, you get material from a supplier and you want to process that orders without taking the material to the warehouse. So you just deliver the material that is received without affecting the warehouse inside. And finally, it's good to person that are now is widely used in the e-commerce with AGV robots. Here, the goods travel to a picking station carried by the AGVs, and in this picking station, you have a projection system that shows where to pick and how many to pick, and then those articles, those items, are put in a put-to wall, also with picking lights. This was the main product I was ready to show at the exhibition, because at the moment, many of the partners that are using these robots are using spotlights. What you see in the slide, where the man is a spotlight that will show with a light point where to pick. But with our new system, with the projection system, you will know where to pick, how many to pick, and also you will have an error protection. In case you pick from some other place, it will detect that you are not picking from the correct location and will signal it in red or with a cross or with a sound that will make you aware that this was not the correct place to pick. And well, this was my presentation. I wanted to make it short, just show our products, our capacity, and leave a few moments for you to ask some questions if you have. So it's over to you.
Excellent. Thank you, Jose, for your presentation there. That was great. So yes, as we say, this is time for the Q&A part. So it's time for you to ask Jose whatever question you like. Get them coming in on the bottom of the screen at the Q&A part. Just to kick us off, Jose, I was just wondering, how long does it take to train employees to use the system in terms of warehouse operatives?
We are talking about minutes, because the only thing you have to train is just follow the light and do what is indicated. And training is really fast forward. Yes. Yeah.
Excellent. And also in terms of the questions, is how many different product lines can the pick-to-like system handle?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you very well.
So
How
many
many?
how many lines can the system handle at any one time? What's the kind of maximum number there?
The maximum number. Well, I said the biggest one has been in Japan with 150,000 lights. That is not the normal one. we normally provide from 500 to 5,000 lights in the same installation.
Absolutely. So yeah, I'll just put out another call. If there are any other questions for Jose, then now is the time to ask them. We're coming close to the end of this webinar, I'm afraid. So I'm sure if there are any more questions, then Jose will be able to respond directly to your emails. I have just had one that's come through from Kenneth Hilton. So what levels of pick accuracy are typical from your systems?
Well, I think the accuracy would depend more on the software that is controlling the lights than on the lights themselves, because lights do not fail. I'm sorry, I just don't want to be rude, but our lights, the main advantage is that you can trust them. They won't fail. Seriously.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for your question, Kent. We appreciate that. And yes, unless there are any more questions coming in, then I'm afraid this Intralogistics Connected webinar is coming to an end. So I hope everybody has enjoyed it, and I would like to thank our speakers and our sponsors today. That's James Roberts, Director at Randex, and Jose Maria Buenaposada, Key Account Manager for the UK and Ireland at Pick-to-Light Systems. Thank you both for your time and expertise. Don't forget that a recording of this webinar will be available on logisticsmanager.com, so you can catch up and share with colleagues. Look out for an email in your inbox soon. And that's it. So thank you again for attending this webinar. Thank you to our speakers and to our sponsors, Randex and Pick-to-Light Systems, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris, and thank you, everyone.